Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So, got a weird question. I was like, what do I have to know about flipping houses? That was the question. It's a weird question. And I'm going to talk today about what are the things that people don't tell you about flipping houses, right? So a lot of the things that people don't tell you, or they tell you but you don't believe. So let's start with the first one. What I was told since I started getting in the business, is that you're not in the real estate business, you're in the marketing business. And I didn't believe that. And the truth is, for 4 years, I wasn't in the marketing business because I was buying at auctions and gut renovating houses. And on some level, I really was more into the real estate business than the marketing business. But if you want to be successful at this business, you need to understand that to be successful, you need to be in the marketing business. Now, let's talk about why. So I was buying at auction, but the truth is, you can't control, and I couldn't control, how many houses I bought at auction. You just don't know what other people are going to bid. Theoretically, you can get outbid on every house. If you want a more systematic business, I don't know if it's systematic. I think it's systematic business, or some kind of business where you can control it. You need to be in the marketing business where you can control marketing, which should lead with some predictability to how many leads you're going to get, which should lead with some predictability over time, and it's a long time in New York, to how many appointments you're going to get, how many offers you're going to make, how many contracts you're going to get, and how many deals you're going to get. And it varies, obviously, with each marketing channel. So I have different numbers for wholesaling, for cold calling, for texting, for direct mail, and for RVM, ringless voicemail. So I buy lists of data, and then I hit those lists multiple ways each month. Now, so it's hard to know what's going to happen if your business is based on something like wholesaling, or people tell me, oh, I do everything through networking. It's also hard to know. The problem with marketing, obviously, is that it takes money and or time, usually both. So you need to invest those things into it. But the truth is, if you want to be successful in this business, you really are more in the marketing business than you are in the real estate business. Because if you were a good marketer and you told me, you know what, I can get you leads of people that are interested in selling on a regular basis, I'll tell you, you will never be broke. But if you tell me I'm good at construction, I'm good at getting funding, or all those things, I would say, you could probably end up working for somebody else. Okay. Another thing people don't tell you is that it's going to take more time than you probably think. Now, in New York, especially, the sales cycle and therefore the cash conversion cycle, and I'll explain what both those things are much longer than in the other 49 states. So the sales cycle is how long it takes from when somebody signs a contract with you to sell you a house to when you get paid for it. That takes much longer in New York. A quick wholesale deal for me is 2 months. A quick wholesale deal in 49 other states is probably 2 weeks. So that's longer. And the cash conversion cycle, which is the time between when you spend money on marketing and when you finally see results in New York, is incredibly long. So I'm still analyzing what it is, but I think it's closer to 16 to 18 months. So it's really, really long. So people will tell you, you're going to see people online. My hair is nuts. You can see people online that say, oh, I got into wholesaling 2 weeks ago and I got my first $12,000 check. That can work in 49 states. It's very hard to work in New York because here are the reasons why. So it's a whole system, and it goes back to the fact that attorneys are really involved in the contract process, in the real estate transaction process in New York, much more so than in other states. So in other states, if a buyer wants to buy and a seller wants to sell, a buyer can take out a contract and get into contract. In New York, the real estate transaction process really takes place between a seller's attorney who generates the contract and a buyer's attorney who is the person it gets sent to. And then that whole process can take a month, just that. And then the title process takes longer and the closing process takes longer because all the attorneys are involved. So because attorneys are involved and that takes longer, what ends up happening in New York is that the time, it really is, the way people think about their real estate in New York is different than the other 49 states. Because in 49 states, if you're really in a financial pinch, you can sell a house in most states, even California, in a week. You really can. You can get title in 2 days, get in and out quickly. In New York, it just takes longer. And most people know that if they bought a house or if they've been involved in real estate, they know that. And therefore, the way they look at their real estate is different than in other states. They look at it as much, much more illiquid, right? This is going to take time. If I'm in a financial pinch, selling my house can take a long time. I can't fix it. In other states, if someone gets into financial trouble, they can get out quicker by selling their property, and then they figure they'll get into a property quicker that way. So some other things people don't tell you that you have to know about this business is that there is a tremendous amount of rejection, right? A lot of people, especially in New York also, are going to tell you to drop dead, die in a fire. I got that a few times, tell me that I'm a piece of crap, and that there's a lot of that rejection. And you need to be able, and I take it just, it happens over time, to develop a thick enough skin that you're not going to be upset by it, because it's very easy to get into a bad state of mind. And I speak to people all the time, hundreds, if not 1,000 people who've told me, well, I bought a list and I called them, but everybody wanted retail. I called the list and everybody told me, I'm not selling a house. Do you see a sign in front of my house? And what probably happened in those situations is they probably spoke to 4 or 5, 10 people out of a decent sized list. Now, another mistake people make is they start with a very small list, right? I know people say, oh, I have a list. I've listed 200 people. That is not a big enough sample size. You need a list of like 10,000 to start. And you got to call the whole list, and you got to call them, and it should take 4 to 6 months to go through that list once or twice. So during that time, if you really speak to enough people, you're definitely, absolutely 100% going to come in contact with people. They're going to tell you bad things. They tell you to drop dead, tell you, why are you calling me? You know, my house isn't for sale. Never call me again. You're going to get that. You need to almost expect it, but you got to sift through a lot of crap to get to a deal, right? Now, I tell people you should get a list, work it for 6 months, and hopefully they'll get enough leads that'll lead to a deal within a year after that. So you got to think in terms of 12 to 18 months. Now, there are exceptions. I have a student now just doing a second deal. He's going to probably make 70 grand in maybe 7 months, which is amazing. But that's the exception. That's not the rule. Most people take a long time. So you need to have your head on straight to understand that it's not, you may find people who are going to give you negative feedback. You absolutely will find people that are going to give you negative feedback. You need to expect it and not let that bother you. That is how marketing works in general. And it's why a lot of people don't like to market. It's why a lot of people quit marketing in any business quickly, because they get some negative feedback. They think everybody thinks this way. And it's not true. And you have to, obviously you need to have a good list, and you need to have a good message, you need to have a good medium, and you need to be do things the right way and speak to somebody who knows what they're doing. Maybe me or somebody else who does it in your area, and keep going through it. But you can't be discouraged. It's very, very easy to get discouraged. Another thing people don't tell you is that most of the business you do not need to know when you start, and that as an aside, what kills a lot of people that start in this business is paralysis by analysis. So they start the business thinking, I need a logo and business cards, and I need to know who my funding source is going to be, and I need to know who my attorney is going to be, and I need to know who I need to build the buyer's list first. All those things are things that don't have to come until you get a deal. And the only things that you should be spending time on when you start are education, so learning from somebody who knows what they're doing, A, and B, marketing. That's it, right? You need to get your head set, your mindset straight to start. You need to make certain decisions. You need to learn how to do this, what's important, and you need to market. That's it. Those are the only things you should be doing. And people like to put the cart before the horse. I have people tell me all the time, well, how am I going to find a buyer if I don't have a deal? I said, I promise you, when you get a deal, I'll help you find the buyer. There are a million ways for you to find a buyer. You can find a buyer with no problem. And if you have to close on the property, no problem getting funding. All these things are easy, right? Money and buyers always flow to good deals. Always. Not sometimes, always. If money and buyers aren't flowing to your deal, it's probably not a good deal. And I get that a lot. Well, I get this to people. I had a great deal, but I couldn't get a funding for it. It doesn't sound right? If your deal is good, you'll be able to get funding sources for it. I had a great deal and no one would buy it. Probably wasn't a great deal, right? Now, it could be in those cases you didn't know how to find the funding sources, you didn't know how to find buyers. Possible, but probably unlikely. It probably wasn't such a good deal. That happens more often than you think. So you think it's a great deal. I get deals all the time. This deal's amazing. I go, this is not a good deal. And they're wondering why. I just had somebody send me a deal. It was $465,000. I think it was full retail, and the house needed full work. He goes, why isn't it a good deal? The broker told me it's worth $650,000. I go, the broker's full of shit. That house is maybe worth $500 when it's all done. It's a terrible deal at that price. I said, I'll pay $360 for it. And that happens all the time, right? You can't get values from your brokers. You kind of get values from people that are trying to sell you something. So I think it's important for everyone to understand that the only things you should be doing when you start are learning and marketing. That's it. If you put your head down and market and you know what you're doing because you learn from somebody who knows what you're doing, you will be successful over time. You just need to give it time. It may take a year. It may take a year and a half. It takes a while. But you should not be worrying about a buyer's list. You should not be worrying about funding sources. You should not be worrying about finding an attorney in New York. You should not be worrying about a logo and business cards and all these things people bug me about all the time that I say it's just not important. I go, just market to sellers. That's it. And people don't want to do it because that's the hard part. It's very easy to go out and find buyers. Oh, you call people on the list. Hey, you're interested in a deal that can make you money? Who's going to say no to that, right? Greg Helbeck, my friend, said it's mental masturbation, right? Because you feel good, makes you feel good, but you're not really getting anywhere because you're really not going to know if they're real buyers or not, even if they tell you they are. And even if you got them off a list and they bought a property, it doesn't matter. Again, get a deal and then the buyers will come to it. That is the way it works. So I hope this was helpful. I'm sorry this was a little shaky. I'm holding the phone with my elbow on the table. If you are interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you are interested in finding out more about a course I teach on how to do this, go to howtoflipnewyorkcourse.com. If you are interested in finding out more about one-on-one coaching I offer, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. What else? Oh, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any media channel, please click the thumbs up. The likes really help me. And I post 5 times a week. So please keep the comments coming with any questions you have. It doesn't even have to be about the video you're watching. If it's a simple answer, I'll just reply. If it's something I've covered before, I'll send you links to videos I've done on it. And if something new, I'll do a new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching.